Hello movie lovers, story recaps here. Today, I'm going to explain a French horror thriller film called Evolution. Spoilers ahead. Watch out and take care. A frail young child named Nicolas lives with his mother near the ocean. Nicolas once saw what appears to be a dead boy with a red starfish on his tummy while swimming in the ocean. To tell his mother about his find, Nicolas scrambles across the imposing dark rocks of his town's shoreline. Mum goes diving right away and returns with the starfish, but she assures him there is no corpse there. Nicolas receives slimy dinners and a medication dose from his mother at home. Nicolas queries his mother over his illness. His mother says that because all the guys on this island experience aging and physical deterioration, they all need treatment. All the mothers on the island are observed assembling later that evening. They are heading for the water. The other mothers assemble around the dead body as Nicolas' mother returns carrying it. Nicolas plays with his starfish the next day. He becomes enraged and assaults the youngster after being taunted by another boy for being terrified of it. The starfish's arm is later severed by him. His mother brings him to a hospital for ongoing observation after his outburst. Nicolas receives an injection of a yellow substance from a hospital doctor. Then it is instructed that he spend one night in the hospital. Later, Nicolas discovers himself in a ward with other boys who have already undergone identical surgery. They start to wonder what illness they are suffering from. The scenario at night depicts nurses watching films of cesarean sections being done. Nicolas gets discharged from the hospital the next day. He starts to wonder if his mother and the nurses misled him. Victor, his friend, hosts him, and the two of them slip outside in the wee hours of the morning to see what the mothers are doing. Victor, however, becomes frightened as they continue on and runs back home. Nicolas keeps moving forward in search of the truth. He is astonished by what he finds when he gets there. The women are lying next to each other absolutely naked, rolling around in the dirt, and exchanging objects back and forth. He dashes home right away. He peeks in on his mother as she cleans off the muck in the shower a few hours later at home. She has what look to be suckers on her back, he notices. Nicolas receives an ultrasound when he returns to the hospital. They hear a fetus's heartbeat, much to his mother's obvious delight. The next day, Nicolas spends another night in the hospital while awaiting the last operation. He makes new friends in the room, including his best pal Victor. Victor had surgery later that evening. Following the procedure, a creature is removed from his stomach and placed in a jar. Victor passes away during the procedure. Nicolas queries the nurse about Victor's whereabouts in the morning. Nicolas is told by the nurse to believe that Victor is getting better. Conch shells are brought into the ward by a nurse who claims Victor sent them. When Nicolas' mother sees him, she brings him food. He won't eat anything she feeds him, though. He accuses her of not being his mother when she grows emotional and starts poring over his notebook. Then they put him to sleep and take his sketchbook. In the hospital, Stella, one of the nurses, and Nicolas become friends. Stella seems to like Nicolas. Stella doodles alongside Nicolas while stealing his crayons. In addition to a dead boy and starfish, Nicolas also drew a bicycle, a car, a house, and a giraffe. Stella then reveals a secret to him and hands Nicolas a file with images of women, including one of a young girl, who had suckers on their backs. That evening, before lowering him into the water, she leads him down to the sea, demonstrates the suckers on her back, and lets him touch them. But after spending too much time in the water, Nicolas collapses. Stella administers CPR to revive him right away. Nicolas visits the hospital once more. He slips into another room at night and discovers one of the boys there. The child feels movement in his body as Nicolas gets closer and places his hand on his own stomach. He makes Nicolas press on his stomach, and then he starts to throw up. Out of terror, Nicolas flees and goes into another room. He observes one of the youngsters floating in a tank in that room. He is discovered soon after by a nurse. He is then taken for the last operation. Following the procedure, Nicolas wakes up inside a tank. He can see what appear to be two infants inside the tank with him while he is restrained. He collapses in amazement at what he sees. When Nicolas awakens, he discovers Stella and himself once more beside the water. They get in the water once more, but this time she swims beside him while keeping her mouth close to his, allowing him to breathe underwater. They both end up in a little rowboat that is floating away from the island after she pulls him to the surface. Stella slips back into the water, possibly to return to the island, after making sure Nicolas drinks some fresh water. Nicolas stays on board, and by dusk he is approaching a major city's harbor. And that brings the film to a close. Here is the justification. In the setting of the story, a group of humanoids are seen going about their daily lives by the shore. As you can see, there are just young boys and female grown-ups here. Neither teenage females nor older men. The female adults, as seen later in the film, have suckers on their backs, indicating that they are human-like aquatic life forms that can breathe underwater. The evolution of the starfish produced these humanoids. Due to the lack of adult males in this species, only asexual reproduction is possible for adults. It appears that external zygote creation and implantation into the uteruses of young boys are the only methods for producing offspring. These males' bodies appear to be capable of accommodating the pregnancy till a certain point. The fetuses must then be surgically removed and allowed to develop outside the body. If the kid's body is strong enough, they may occasionally put him in a tank where the fetus develops externally in the water while still attached to the boy. Nicholas receives medication daily, as we can see in the film. This is done to get his body ready to carry the fetus. He is admitted when the timing is right, and the zygote is then injected into him. The treatment of other boys on the island is the same. We can presume that every single one of them young lads is regularly abducted from cities and brought to this coastal location. In the film, Nicholas can be seen drawing a giraffe, a bicycle, a car, and starfish, in addition to a dead kid and starfish. These are being drawn by Nicholas from memory because they are not present in the community. This implies that he was taken from his mother as an infant and sent there. The boys, however, grow up remembering virtually little of their origins. Nicholas spotted a dead body at the movie's opening. We can presume that he passed away while attempting to flee, and those women made the decision to conceal it. The women may also be seen in the movie lying next to each other, rolling around in the mud, and passing objects to one another. This resembles a ceremony for birth and reproduction. These ladies experience a maternal frenzy when one of them becomes pregnant, and as a result, they create zygotes, which are then collected and injected into boys to impregnate them. We catch a peek of the humanoids watching a video of a cesarean procedure in another scenario. They've been working out how to cut the abdomens without harming the fetuses in this way. It seems that the humanoids frequently perform a cesarean section improperly and murder the host child as a result. Victor, who passes away following the procedure, demonstrates this happening. But occasionally they manage to make the perfect cut and transfer the host into the incubation tank. Nicholas experiences this and pulls through the surgery. Once within, the fetuses develop quite quickly while the host is alive and may later receive another zygote. Stella, who sincerely loves Nicholas, resolves to save him from his suffering at the end of the film. Nicholas is then secretly led outside and taken to a boat by her. The humanoids appear to enter human towns in this manner in order to kidnap children. Nicholas notices that he is getting closer to the shore of a human metropolis as night falls. It is reasonable to believe that he will be saved and reunited with his biological parents. And that is how I would explain the movie. Don't forget to subscribe for more recaps like this, switch on alerts, and give the channel a thumbs up to help it grow. Thank you for taking the time to watch. Let's meet up the next day for another evaluation.